teach, put kids in little groups of 2 and 3. They give them math problems. And the purpose is not to get the right answer. The purpose is to simply get all 3 kids to agree what they think the answer is. Got a little boy, a little 3rd grader in New York, on a multiplication test, 7 times 6, he writes 42. He gets it marked wrong. And in red pencil, the teacher writes, the other 2 children in your peer group agreed on a different answer. So they got it marked right. You did not agree with the other kids, so we got it marked wrong. Another 4th grade boy had a math problem in New York, too, where the answer was 111. He got it marked wrong simply because he wrote the number in. What he was supposed to do was draw 111 circles to get the answer right, because he didn't do that. I know, come on, you don't believe it. All right, watch this, quickly. Here's a college math professor. Here's a college math professor. Milgram knows her. She can't help her 3rd grader with math. So she puts the 3rd grade girl at the board, has her work a math problem, and watch the Common Core way. Here's the hard math problem. Add these 3 numbers. 1568, 1423, and 680.
So what I want you to do is, can you solve that problem showing me the way that you learned how to solve it in school? Okay. And talk to me while you're solving it.
So we learned that a big square like this is 100. So we could make that 100 into a cube, which would make 1,000. So I'm going to do that. Okay.
Turn up the volume.
So a square is 100, then a cube is 1,000.
So let's just say that's 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And now we still have to do 500. Could make that into 5 sheets.
Do you notice how nobody's adding things yet? This is just what you have to do to get the first number on the board.
We have 60.
The lines equals 10. The dots equal 1s. Now you're going to have to add the second number before you can start doing the problem.
For her birthday, she got 1,000. The dots represent 1.
Okay.
And now we have to add all of these together. So you could make 1,000. All of these together is 400. Now you need 600 more. So now I'm going to write the numbers down. So we have 1,000 plus, well, let's just say 3,000. Because we have 3 cubes. 3,000 plus. So now we can erase all the sheets and hundreds and tens. So we can just add, and that gives us a total of 3,763.
Okay. Now that problem you just solved took about 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we're doing in school. But at home, I'm taught how to stack. And we're not allowed to do stacking in school. That's why we have to.
You are prohibited from doing this kind of math in Common Core. The way we learned how to do it. You cannot do this in Common Core. You get it marked wrong if you do. You are prohibited from doing it.
What are you thinking? You're looking at your problem?
In the interest of time, she got 2 different answers. She did the stacking correctly. It took about 30 seconds. She took 8 minutes to get it wrong, Common Core's way. And, you know, as bad a math student as I am, if every time you did Common Core math, a square equaled 100 and a cube equaled 1,000, I could figure it out, but it's never the same way twice. It's all this screwy stuff. And as Milgram points out, if you're spending, how much time does it take to put kids in little groups without being taught by teachers? How much time does it take to draw all that junk on the board? In every high-achieving math country on earth, all of them, kids routinely begin algebra, serious algebra, in 7th or even 6th grade. In No Child Left Behind America, our America kids weren't beginning real algebra until 8th grade. And under Common Core, algebra is routinely pushed into high school, which means your kids will not get advanced math and calculus anymore. And this will blow you away. the name Jason Zimba, Z-I-M-B-A. He is the architect of Common Core Math. He is the man most responsible for Common Core Math, Zimba. And if you type into the Google, Sandy Stotsky debates Jason Zimba, she gets him to admit publicly, the man who wrote the math standards, that it's true. Common Core Math will not prepare your kids for college-level math. He says, at the best, it will prepare the brightest kids, maybe to begin math at a 2-year technical college. High schools all across the country in the last 6 months have been pulling calculus classes out of the curriculum because your kids will never get there. There's one school that took calculus out, and guess what they replaced it with at senior level? A mandatory math class on how to promote diversity through mathematics. Do you see what Milgram's telling you now? This is not a paradigm to allow kids to excel in math. This is let's get everybody to the same place, which means it's got to be a low standard. And you don't think I'm telling you the truth about this. There are 22 different states that have done this already. School boards all across the country are warning and threatening moms and dads not to, in any way, shape, or form, let your kids do any extra math. This is Orange County, California, the Irvine Unified School District in Orange County. Moms and dads in California were freaking out because their fourth grade kids weren't able to add or subtract independently of all that drawing. So they started getting tutors for their kids. And the school district freaked out. Here's the warning. The links on this page are intended to support the classroom instruction that your child receives from his teacher. It is not appropriate to go ahead of classroom instruction or to use this site to have your kid work on math that is intended for subsequent grades. Don't do it. And here's the threat. Your child's math instruction and math placement will not change as a result of working ahead. This means that your child will continue to work in grade level appropriate math regardless of any other work that's done. So your third grader can be ready for geometry tough. He's going to spend the next 7 years drawing circles and cubes and squares. Doesn't matter. And under this, right, no one gets to move ahead. We've lost more gifted and talented programs in this country in the last 2 years than in the last 40 because that's not socially just. It's not socially just that some kids take honors classes and others don't. This is what Common Core Math is. And as you see, as with the English, this is pure sociology. It's not education. I'm going to skip over the data mining stuff just in the interest of time. I know I know that's a good one, but to be fair to the other speakers, I want to close with this. Equally as bad as Common Core is all the junk you're going to get with it. These are the National Sexuality Education Standards. They were published by the federal government the very same year Common Core began to be implemented in the schools in 2012. Notice the title. These are the national standards, which means they're national, the feds own it. They're standards, which means your kids are going to have to be tested on it. When do they start? When your kids are 5 years old. 5 years old. The federal government is now teaching sex to your kids. Notice the subtitle. These are the core skills, the core content. Now, is that Common Core? The schools will tell you it's not, but then you can find this document online. You open this document to the 6th page, and it tells you that when the sexuality standards were being written, what did they use to construct them? Look at the last thing on the list. Common Core standards for English and math. Why in the world is the National Sexuality Standards, the curriculum, the national sex requirements now, why are they modeling themselves and incorporating Common Core English and math? What does English and math have to do with sex? Well, you now know the question, don't you? Why is there so much sex in your English textbooks? Why is there so much pornography? Why are math problems being rewritten and sexualized? Because they have to be. We don't put 5-year-olds in biology class, and we don't put 5-year-olds in sex ed. If they're going to start teaching this stuff to your kids, Common Core is the mechanism whereby they do it. And you know how I know that? They don't cite any non-Common Core subjects. You would think the National Sexuality Standards, if they were going to cite some kind of lower-level curriculum, wouldn't they have cited the science standards? Biology. Why don't they cite those? Because they weren't Common Core in 2012. In 2012, all we had was Common Core Math and English. In other words, Common Core is a Trojan horse. It's a placeholder to begin the teaching of sex in English. Because if you're going to get 5-year-olds to these kind of standards, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, you have to make sex part of every single subject and every single lesson. Here's what they do. They break your kids up into 3-year cycles. 5, 6, 7-year-olds test. 8, 9, 10-year-olds test. Here's some of the standards for the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. So by the time your daughter is 7, she will be forced to identify different kinds of family structures and then demonstrate ways to show respect for different types of families. Do you teach your 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds about gay marriage? Because they're going to.